Hi there guys, welcome back to the Patchwork Mystery CAL. You've got Sammy here from Hook, White and Stitches, and this week we're going to be completing the beautifully textured Pasha square designed by the wonderful Shelby Shea of Shelby Shea Stitches. This is a real beauty and a pleasure to hook up. Now, just a couple of notes before we get started. I'm going to give you stitch counts as we go through the video. The first 5 rounds will be the stitch counts for the entire round. Round 6 and beyond, as we start squaring off, I'll give you a stitch count that doesn't include the corners, and then I'll give you the corner stitches as well. So they're not included when you're counting stitches. Just keep that in mind. We are working in the third loop of some half double crochets, which we have done before in this crochet along, but I do run you through it again as a bit of a refresher. If the only other thing that you should bear in mind before we get started, if you find the center of your square cupping, which when we start working I think will make sense to you pretty quickly, where I'm adding 1 chain, add 2 chains between the stitches in round 4 and skipping one of the chains on round 5. If it's still cupping, just go up a hook size until your center is laying flat, and then you can go back down to work the rest of your stitches. Alright guys, I think that's all we need to go over before we get started. Let's get on to round 1. Okay guys, for round 1 we have 2 starting options. You can start with the magic ring. I know that a lot of people don't like the magic ring, so I've just started with the alternative, which is a chain of 5. I've slip stitched together to make a ring. Oops. Now I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to work my first bean stitch. So I'm going into the center of the chain, the center of the ring we've just created, pulling up a loop. Now I want a little bit of height in my loops, so I get a nice puffy bean. So yarning over, inserting back into the ring, pulling up a second loop. So we've got 4 on our hook at this point. Yarning over once more, inserting our hook and pulling up a 6th loop. Yarn over, pull through all loops on our hook and chain 1 to close the stitch. So that's our first bean stitch. Chaining 1 and then popping another bean stitch into that center. So inserting our hook, pulling up a loop, yarning over, inserting our hook, pulling up a loop, yarning over, inserting our hook one more time, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through all 6, chain to close, and then a chain 1. So we're going to continue that until we have 6 beans. We'll be slip stitching to the top of the first bean to finish out this round. I'll meet you back here for round 2. Okay, so we've completed our first row, joined with a slip stitch to the top of the first bean. We've got our 6 bean stitches with 6 chain 1 spaces between. Now we're going to chain 2 and pop 2 bean stitches into each chain space around. So at the end of this round we'll have 12 bean stitches, working them the same way into the chain space between the beans from the previous round, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through all 6, and chain 1 to close. Now we're not doing additional chain spaces between these beans. We're going to go straight into our second bean in the same chain space. 1, 2, 3, pulling through all 6, chaining 1 to close the bean, and then we're on to our next chain space. So 2 bean stitches into each chain space, working between the beans of the previous round. The end of round 2 will have 12 beans, joining with a slip stitch to the top of the first bean, so we're just ignoring that chain 2. And I will meet you back here for round 3. We've got 12 bean stitches joined with a slip stitch to the top of the first. Now I'm changing colour for round 3. You can if you choose, you don't have to. As with other squares, we love seeing all your colour variations and your where you decide to change colours. Now we finished between 2 bean stitches, so we've got the 2 into 1 and then the space between them. So I've just, because I like to move my starting point if I'm changing colour, just gone into the one previous. So I'm working in the space between the sets of 2 bean stitches. Joined with a slip stitch, I'm going to do a chain of 2, which will be overlooking as a stitch. Then I'm going to work 2 bean stitches into the space between the beans. So 2, 3. And then a second into that same space between those 2 beans. 1, 2, 3. Pull through them all, chain 1 to finish off. Now we're moving around and we're going to put a single bean into the next space between the beans. 2, 3. So that's the space between the cluster of 2 beans from the previous row. Alright, working into the next space between the 2 beans, we're going to put 2 beans. So we're alternating 2 beans between, then 1, then 2, then 1. At the end of round 3, you'll have 18 bean stitches. Again, we're joining with a slip stitch to the top of the first bean. When you've got 18 bean stitches, I'll meet you back here for round 4. Okay, we finished round 3. How gorgeous is the texture in the center of this square with all those bean stitches? Now, I've just done a chain of 2. And for round 4, we're going to work a bean in between each bean from the previous round. So we'll have 18 beans again at the end of this round. Working as we have with previous rounds. Pulling up the loop 3 times. So we've got 6, yarning over, pulling through, and a chain of 1 to close our bean. And just 1 between each bean stitch from the previous round will give us 18 for this round. 2 and 3. So another round of gorgeous texture. Now at the end of this round I'm going to be changing colours again. Entirely up to you whether you would like to or not. Once you have 18 bean stitches, 1 between each from the previous round, we're joining with a slip stitch to the top of the first bean. And I'll meet you back here to show you round 5. Alright, we've finished with the bean stitches for now. We're ready for round 5. Now we're going to be working back loop only in the top of the bean stitch and the chain 1 that closes the bean stitch. So joining in, I want the top of the bean stitch. So I'll just show you. This would be the top, and you can see the gap there. That's the chain 1 that closes it, moving on to the next one. So I'm going to join into the back loop only with a slip stitch, and I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to put 2 single crochet into that same stitch. 1 and 2, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So once through the back loop of the chain one that closes the bean, and then once into the back loop of the next bean stitch. Then we're going to repeat that pattern again. So 2 single crochet into the next back loop, 1, 2, and then a single crochet into each of the next 2 back loops. Working back loop only is just adding more depth and texture to our gorgeous bean stitches. I'm going to let you continue following that repeat all the way back to the beginning. Be joining with a slip stitch to the first single crochet, and at the end of round 5 you will have 48 single crochet. I'll meet you back here for round 6. Okay, back for round 6, we're going to start squaring off our circle. So previous round we had 48 single crochet. It's time to turn those 48 into 4 sides. Once again, we're working in the back loop only. So start by chaining 2, and then I'm just going to move to the next stitch. We can work back over that one on our way back. Back loop only, I'm going to do 2 double crochet into the first stitch, chain 2, and another 2 double crochet. So this will be our first corner, all in the back loop of the first stitch. Now we're going to work a double crochet into the back loop of the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. Then we're going to work a half double crochet into the back loop of the 2 following that. 1 and 2. Then we have 3 single crochet, so 1 into the back loop of each of the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we'll start building back out to our corner. So a half double crochet into the back loop only of the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. A double crochet into each of the back loops only of each of the next 2 stitches. And then we're back at a corner. So back loop only. The next stitch is going to be our corner stitch, so we're going to pop 2 double crochet into there, all worked into the same stitch. 2 double crochet, chain of 2, and another 2 double crochet. So we're going to continue repeating that pattern, working back loops only all the way around. So we'll have 4 corners and 4 sides at the end of this round. Now each side will have 4 double crochet, 4 half double crochet, 3 single crochet, and then our corners. Corners, of course, consisting of 2 double crochet, a chain 2, and another 2 double crochet. I'll let you work the remaining 3 sides and 2 corners, joining with a slip stitch into the first double crochet when we get back to the beginning, and I'll meet you back here for round 7. So after round 6, we're nice and square. Those bean stitches sitting up beautifully after working those back loop onlys coming out of them. Now round 7, all stitches are once again worked in the back loop only, chaining 1, and then we're just popping a single crochet into the back loop of each stitch from the previous round. Now when you reach your corner, There's no back loop obviously, but we're just going to pop 3 single crochet into that chain space. 2 and 3. So nice and simple for round 7. We're going to work back loop only, single crochet all the way across to our next corner. We'll repeat that around all 4 sides and 4 corners. Remembering a corner chain space has 3 single crochet. Get back to your starting point. We're joining with a slip stitch into the first single crochet. Nice and easy for round 7. I'll let you guys work those single crochet and I'll meet you back here for round 8. Okay, we finished out round 7 with 15 single crochet on each side and 3 in our corner chain space. So from there I've just done a chain of 2. We're working in back loops only again and working a double crochet in each stitch across. Now, to keep our corners looking fabulous, when we get to the 3 single crochet, the middle one, the second single crochet in the corner chain space is where we're going to work our corner stitches. So in that back loop, we're going to pop a double crochet, a chain 2, and a second double crochet. And then we can just continue down our side, working a double crochet into the back loop of each stitch. So at the end of round 8, we'll have 4 sides, each side with 17 double crochet, and then we've got the additional stitches in our corners of a double crochet, a chain 2, and another double crochet. Remembering we're working into the middle single crochet of the corner stitches from the previous round. I'll let you guys work this round of double crochet. Once again, we'll be finishing with a slip stitch into the top of the first stitch, which was the double crochet, not the chain. And then I will meet you back here for round 9. Now, round 9, we're working bean stitches again, so I'm going to be changing colours. I'll see you back here soon. Okay, so finished out round 8, moving on to round 9. I've changed colour. If you're not changing colour, you can just continue from where you were. You'll just want to slip stitch because you want to start in an even stitch. So we've got 17 double crochet on each side plus our double crochet in each corner. So double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in each corner. So we're going to start with a bean stitch. We're going to do a bean and then skip a stitch. Bean, skip a stitch, all the way to the corner. So this last double crochet you want to be a skip stitch so you can work a bean into the corner without breaking up the pattern. So I've joined in my new colour, doing a chain of 1, then I'm working a bean stitch into the same stitch. 2, 3, chain 1 to close. So we're working a bean and then we're skipping the next stitch and popping a bean into the third. 1, 2, 3. Now we're at our corner, so we're skipping the next one anyway. Working into the corner, we're going to work a bean, a chain of 2, and then a second bean into the corner chain space. 1, 2, 3. So the chain 1 to close doesn't count. That's the finish of our bean stitch. Then we chain 2, and then we can work our second bean into the same corner chain space. 1, 2, 3, and then we continue that pattern down the side. So skipping the first one, working a bean into the second. So all our beans will be in even stitches. So we just worked one into the second, we'll skip the third, and we'll work our next into the fourth. All right, I'll let you guys work that round of bean stitches. Now at the end of round 9, you're going to have 9 bean stitches down each side, plus the bean, chain 2 bean that you have in your corner. Finishing out with a slip stitch into the top of the first bean stitch that we've done, ignoring that little chain space. Have fun. I'll meet you back here for round 10. Alright, another round of beautiful bean stitches completed, and we're ready for round 10. So I've just changed colour again, working back loop only for this round. So I've joined in with a slip stitch into the back loop of the top of a bean stitch, chaining 1, and then we're going to pop a single crochet into each stitch across. So I'm popping 1 into the top of the bean stitch and 1 into the chain 1 that closes it, all the way across to our corner chain space. Corner chain space, we're going to work 3 single crochet into the chain 2 space, 2 and 3, and then we're back to working those back loop only single crochet all the way across the row, 1 in each stitch. At the end of this round, you'll be joining with a slip stitch into your first single crochet, ignoring that chain 1 because it doesn't count as a stitch. On each side, you will have 22 single crochet with the additional 3 single crochet in the corner on top of that. I'll let you guys work this round of back loop only single crochet, and I will meet you back here for round 11. Okay guys, we're back ready for round 11 of this bean stitched beauty. Now this round's all worked in back loop only. I have rejoined into a back loop because that's what I prefer to do, but if you're not changing colour and you don't want to weave in the extra ends, you can certainly continue from your finishing point. I'm going to chain 2, and then we're going to put a half double crochet in each and every stitch, back loop only for the entire round. Now we're at the corner, so we're going to work into the center stitch. So I've just done the first one, the second is our center because there's 3 in that corner. Just my lighting a little. So in the corner of the center stitches, we're going to do a half double crochet, chain 2, and a second half double crochet, and as we're working into stitches not chain, we're still in that back loop. From there, working out with a half double crochet into the back loop of each and every stitch. So at the end of this round, you'll have 24 half double crochet down each side with our additional half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet in the center stitch on each corner. I'll let you guys work those half double crochet. I'll meet you back here for round 12. Okay, ready for round 12. Now round 12, I've rejoined just because I like the way that it sits better. This entire round will be working in the 3rd loop of our half double crochet. So that would be the top of our stitch. Normally we'd go in here, or there's our front loop and our back loop. But if you look over the back of your work, there's a 3rd loop on the half double crochet. So that's where I've joined in, and that's where we're going to be working. So this entire round is also half double crochet, we're popping a half double crochet in the third loop of each and every half double crochet from the previous round. Just in to the back. Now you can tell if you've got the back because you've got the top of your stitch sitting there like a nice pretty little chain. So that's where we'd normally go through our stitch, front loop, back loop. On the back, the yarn over first, is our third loop where we're working our half double crochet for this round. I'm just going to work up to the corner to show you how we do our corner stitches, because remember we popped a chain into our corner on the previous round, so there's no third loop to work into. We'll be working into the chain as normal. And I just got my last one. Okay, so yes, I did. Working into the chain, we're going to be doing a half double crochet, chain 2, and another half double crochet into the same chain space, and then we're back to working our half double crochet into the third loop of our stitches. As always, we're finishing out the round, so you can see those chain stitches are sitting, those corner stitches sitting over the chain, and then down the side where we've worked the back loop, we've got the beautiful texture of the top of the stitch sitting on the front of our square. Finishing off by joining with a slip stitch into our first half double crochet, and I'll meet you all back here for round 13. Okay, gorgeous ones, we're back and ready for round 13. So we've got another round worked in the third loop of the half double crochet from the previous round, joined in, done a chain of 1. I'm going to work a single crochet into each and every stitch, working into the third loop of the half double crochet from the previous round. So nice and easy, still adding some beautiful texture by working in that third loop. Now when we get to our corner chain space, we're going to pop in 3 single crochet, 1, 2, and 3. So just working through over the chain space as we normally would. Ooh. And then back into the single crochet into the third loop down the sides. So nice and easy for round 13. We've got some more beautiful bean stitches coming up in round 14. Finishing out row 13, I have 28 single crochet on each side, 3 single crochet in the corner, and we'll be finishing off with a slip stitch into our first single crochet. I'll meet you all back here for round 14. Okay, we're back and ready for round 14. As I said, we're doing some more bean stitches. Now you want to start in an even stitch. So I'm 6 in from the corner. Any even stitch is fine. I just wanted to be able to show you the repeat that we're doing and the corner sequence. So I've done joined in and done a chain of 2. I'm going to pop a bean stitch into the same stitch. Oops. So 1, 2, 3. Finish off with a chain of 1. Bean stitch, then we're skipping a stitch and doing another bean stitch. Don't yarn over before you insert your hook. 1, 2, 3. Now we're towards our corner and the end of the row, so we've got 2 stitches left before our corner chain space, corner stitch, because we've got those 3 single crochets. So we want to work into the second one, the middle one. Now we're going to skip 2, and working into our corner, we're going to work a bean stitch, chain 2, and a second bean stitch into the same stitch. And then we're simply continuing our pattern down the sides. So skipping 1 and then a bean stitch, skipping 1 and then a bean stitch, all the way to our next corner, where again we'll be skipping 2 at the end. So bean, skip 1 until there's 2 left, and then you skip the last 2 to work your corner beans. At the end of this round, you'll have 14 beans per side, plus your bean, chain 2 bean in the corner. I'm going to meet you back here for round 15. Okay, finished with our round of bean stitch for round 14. Now round 15, change colours, join into the back loop of a bean, and we're just doing a row of back loop only single crochet. So we're working through the back loop at the top of the bean and the back loop of the chain 1 we used to close the bean. So each side will have 32 single crochet, and when we get to our corner chain space, we're going to simply pop 3 single crochet in there. So each side 32 back loop only single crochet, and then we'll have 3 in our chain 2 space in the corner. Alright guys, run that round of single crochet, finishing with a slip stitch to the first single crochet, and I will meet you back here for round 16. 2 rounds to go. Oh, I'm just loving the textures in that square. Look at them. They're beautiful. Alright, we're done with row 15. On to row 16. Now we're going to be working back loop only again, so I'm just going to slip stitch over to there, chain 2. And this round we're going to be working half double crochet in each stitch across to the corner. So back loops only, half double crochets all the way to the corner. Now I'm going to work them a little bit quicker just so I can show you how our corners are going to look on this round. Remember, you can always slow down or speed up videos. I keep bumping my video stand. So half double crochet in each and every back loop of each stitch. Until we get to our corner. Now remembering previous round single crochet, we did 3 single crochet to finish out our corner. So we're going to be working into the second single crochet for this stitch. Okay, so the middle single crochet to the back loop only, we're going to do 2 half double crochet into the same stitch, a chain of 2, and another 2 half double crochet into the same stitch. So at the end of round 16, we're going to have 34 half double crochet down each side, plus our corners will have 2 half double crochet, a chain 2, and another 2 half double crochet. I'll let you guys run that round. I'm going to meet you back here for round 17, our final round. Okay guys, we're on our final round of the gorgeous Pasha square. Thank you once again to Shelby Shea for this fantastic design. It's just gorgeous. So I've joined into a third loop of the half double crochet from the previous round, and our final round is just a single crochet into each and every stitch all the way down each side to our corner chain space. Corner chain space, we're going to work 3 single crochet, and with the color change you can really see the extra texture that those third loop stitches with the single crochet in the corner add to this beautiful textured square. I hope you've all enjoyed hooking it up as much as I have. I cannot wait to see all your color choices. Until next time, have a fantastic day. Happy hooking!